Welcome back to the NFPT podcast, where we make you feel confident walking into your CPT exam. Welcome to the NFPT podcast, where all of our episodes are designed to make you a certified personal trainer who is successful. And this all starts with confidently passing your CPT exam. I'm Erin Mahoney, your host, longtime certified personal trainer and general manager of NFPT. Today, we're talking about the signs and symptoms of overtraining, which is a topic that'll be on your exam, but also something that will come up time and time again when you start working with clients. So let's get started. And we'll start by talking through why knowledge on overtraining matters. First of all, like I just mentioned, overtraining does fall onto your CPT exam outline, and it falls under the category of injury prevention. So you can find more information about this if you want to read up on it in your injury prevention chapter. But it's also important to know as a personal trainer in practice because it's going to help reduce some of the confusion that will inevitably come up with clients around whether they're experiencing a true plateau or if it's truly overtraining, or if it is related to a lack of compliance. So you'll want to know what those differences are and how to spot them in order to make sure you're working with your client to get them safely and effectively to their goals. And as a result of both of these things, this is going to direct your program design recommendation for your clients. So if they're truly overtraining, then you're going to need to make some modifications to what they're doing. And if they're not overtraining, then there could be some other coaching opportunities there for you. All right, let's dive into the true symptoms of overtraining. So, if you've got a client who truly is experiencing overtraining, then at least one, if not more, of these signs or symptoms should be present. First, do they have any sleep disturbances? So, these would be sleep disturbances beyond what they normally have. Are they sleeping more than they normally do, or less than they normally do, or are they waking up frequently throughout the night? Now, again, remember, most people do have sleep disturbances in general, but this sleep disturbance is different than what it was prior to the start of increasing their physical activity. The second sign or symptom of overtraining would be a higher resting heart rate. And similar to the sleep disturbances discussion, this would be a resting heart rate that is higher than what it typically is. And we know when clients start improving their fitness levels, their resting heart rate goes down because their heart rate is getting stronger and it's becoming more efficient. In the cases of overtraining, you'll notice sometimes that a client's resting heart rate will actually increase a bit. The third symptom of overtraining, or one of them, would be prolonged muscle soreness. So we know that delayed onset muscle soreness is going to last for 1 to 3 days, maybe, but anything beyond 3 days is becoming excessive. And that is reflecting that the body is having a difficult time recovering from the stress that's being placed on it. Now, the fourth symptom of overtraining would be a decrease in lean body mass or muscle tissue. So, regardless of whether they're trying to increase their lean body mass as a goal, or maybe they're just trying to maintain but decrease their body fat, if their lean body mass or they are losing muscle tissue, then that is a sign of overtraining. The fifth sign or symptom of overtraining is the inability to achieve desired target heart rate zones. So this is a little bit different than a resting heart rate. What this means is if you are having your client train for cardio in specific heart rate zones and they're not able to get up to that level. So let's say you want them to hit 80% of their target heart rate and they can't get there. That is an example of their inability to achieve that heart rate zone. And that could be a symptom of overtraining. And similarly, if they're not recovering in the adequate amount of time. So if you're doing high intensity interval training and you're giving them a full 1 to 3 minutes of recovery time and their heart rate isn't going down to that recovery mode, that's another, even though it's in that same category, it's an example of overtraining. And then lastly, any other notable decline in performance. So whether they're suffering from less ability and endurance, strength, or any other element or component of fitness, that is a symptom of overtraining. So let's run through these one more time. The symptoms of overtraining include sleep disturbances, higher resting heart rate, prolonged muscle soreness, decreased lean body mass, inability to achieve desired heart rate zones, or notable decline in performance. And I say or because remember, they don't have to have all of these, they just need to have one or more of them. Now, some things that will pop up in application. So now we're not talking about test day, we're talking about when you're training with clients and what could be an indication that they are overtraining. So this is not a sign or a symptom, but these are just observations that you might be having with them. Let's say, number one, their motivation levels start decreasing. Maybe they don't want to train as long or as hard, or they're not feeling like they can accomplish what they were able to accomplish before. That is something that could warrant the discussion of overtraining. Another indicator of potential overtraining would be session cancellation. Are they canceling their sessions, not showing up? Are they being less consistent as they were before? Another indicator would be underperformance during workouts. So, this is similar to their motivation levels, but are they not really getting after the same intensity levels that they were before? And then lastly, are they hitting any kind of plateau? So whether that is they're trying to lose weight and all of a sudden their weekly weigh-ins aren't being where they should be, or maybe they're trying to increase maximum strength gains and their strength gain is not improving the way it should also. These are what you could consider the tips of the iceberg. So this is maybe you aren't actively measuring their resting heart rate every single time, but you are noticing, hey, their motivation is decreasing, they're underperforming. Are they potentially at risk of overtraining? Now let's dive into the type of question that you could potentially see on your exam. And here it goes. For the third week in a row, a client hasn't lost weight during a weekly weigh in. What is your first course of action with them? Is it to A, conduct a recovery session to prevent overtraining, B, perform objective and subjective client assessments, C, readjust the client's performance and weight loss goals within reason, or D, adjust the cardio fit principle parameters until they achieve their goals? All right, let's walk through each one of these. So, for the third week in a row, a client hasn't lost weight during their weekly weigh in. What is your first course of action? So, the first answer option is saying conduct recovery session to prevent overtraining. Here's the thing, if we jump right into a recovery session at this point, we're assuming that they're overtraining, but we haven't really explored a potential lack of compliance. So, in this instance, answer option A would not be the best answer because we don't have enough information on whether they are truly overtraining and need that recovery session. So, going through that question again, option B would be to perform objective and subjective client assessments. Now, this could be a viable answer, a correct answer. And the reason why is because we don't have enough information. We know they're not hitting their weekly weigh in goals, but do we know if they're following their nutrition recommendations and their other activity recommendations? So that's going to be your subjective information. Objective information would give you their resting heart rate. You could also conduct a cardio fitness assessment. You could also perform movement assessments. That's going to give you more insight into what is going on with that client. So at this point, answer option B is a more likely correct answer than answer option A. Now let's chat about answer option 3. Do we readjust the client's performance and weight loss goals within reason? So for this answer option, now we're going a little too far forward again. So again, we're assuming that they might be overtraining or not complying. And in that case, we're saying, okay, let's change the goals within reason and help them achieve them. That could be a viable solution as well, but it's not the best one because we still don't know yet if they are overtraining or not. We don't know if it's lack of compliance, if it's motivation, or if it is truly overtraining or a plateau. And lastly, answer option D is, do we adjust their cardio fit principle parameters until goal attainment? Now, this answer option is here because we know that they're trying to lose weight and that they haven't lost weight in the last few weeks. And so what do you do? So again, we're jumping too far into it. So at this point, answer option D is not the correct answer because we're assuming that they need more caloric burn, but we're not understanding what the root problem is. So when we go back through this question, what we're able to identify is all of the answer options, with the exception of answer option B, are jumping right into diagnosis without getting more information. So again, for the third week in a row, a client hasn't lost weight during their weekly weigh-in. So what's the first course of action? We don't know enough information. So A, conducting recovery sessions would not be correct. B, performing objective and subjective client assessments to get more information would be correct. And then likewise, C and D, readjusting the client's performance and weight loss goals or adjusting their cardio fit principle parameters would not be correct until we have additional information. All right, there you have it. Signs and symptoms of overtraining, and not only how to get those answers correct on your CPT exam, but why it really matters when you start working with clients. All right. Fitness success should not be complicated. And that is what NFPT is here for. We make it easy. So enroll in an NFPT CPT today. Or if you're already enrolled in a CPT, check out our CPT recorded exam prep webinar series. So these supplement any CPT that you might be enrolled in. That's it for today. Thanks for joining. Follow us to get the latest, and be well and keep moving. Today's episode is brought to you by Summit Professional